The stressful event is over. The deadline was met, the argument ended, the crisis passed. By all logical measures, you should feel a rush of triumphant relief. Instead, your body feels like lead. You stare at the wall, fully aware of the dishes you should wash or the text message you need to send, but you cannot bridge the gap between intention and action. The world calls this laziness or flakiness, but science calls it something else entirely. You are experiencing a freeze hangover. Today, we are going to dismantle the shame keeping you stuck on the couch and map exactly how to gently bring your nervous system back to life. When we talk about survival, we almost always focus on the fight or flight response. We imagine the adrenaline-fueled rush of escaping danger. But what happens when the threat is overwhelming and escaping is not an option? Your autonomic nervous system drops into its oldest, most primitive defense mechanism. It enters the dorsal vagal freeze state. This is a massive, systemic shutdown designed to conserve energy and numb pain, to help you endure the inescapable. The freeze response is not a passive event. It is highly active and metabolically expensive. Trauma experts describe it as the simultaneous activation of immense energy and immense inhibition. Imagine sitting in a vehicle, pressing the accelerator to the floor, while simultaneously pulling the emergency brake as hard as you can. On the outside, nothing is moving. But underneath, the engine is roaring, the RPMs are maxed out, and the biological system is enduring massive physical strain. When the stressful event finally ends, you do not simply let off the brake and move on. The fuel tank is utterly empty. The system requires a massive physiological repair. This is the freeze hangover. Your body is not refusing to move because it lacks willpower. It is refusing to move because its metabolic resources have been entirely depleted by the monumental effort of holding the gas and the brake at the same time. You are not choosing leisure. You are in a state of forced biological recovery. To escape this state, you have to apply an immediate practical patch. We call this removing the friction. Shame is the friction. When you label your exhaustion as laziness, your inner critic attacks. Your amygdala registers those harsh thoughts as a brand new threat. By shaming yourself for not moving, you signal to your nervous system that you are still in danger. And a tired nervous system responds to danger by digging its heels deeper into the freeze. You must give yourself permission to rest. Speak directly to your physical state. Acknowledge that your body just performed a brilliant survival maneuver and needs time to recover. By removing the self-judgment, you remove the psychological threat. This signals to your brain that it can finally stand down. Next, apply low-demand sensory grounding. Do not try to shock your system with an ice bath. That will send an exhausted body right back into a defensive freeze. Instead, use incredibly gentle inputs. Freeze is biologically a cold state, characterized by constricted blood flow. Drink warm tea. Place a heating pad on your chest. Wrap yourself in a heavy blanket. Deep pressure stimulation activates the parasympathetic nervous system and gives your physical form a safe boundary. You are using bottom-up processing. You cannot logic your way out of a physiological shutdown because your prefrontal cortex is temporarily suppressed. You must use your body to send signals of safety up to your brain. As you create this safety, you will begin to experience the cognitive toll of the recovery process. During the shutdown phase, your brain relies heavily on dissociation. It unplugs your conscious awareness from reality to protect you. But in the hangover, this becomes a liability. Even when the external threat is gone, your consciousness remains partially unplugged. This presents as massive brain fog, time blindness, and memory deficits. You walk into a room and forget why. You might struggle to articulate your thoughts, or feel like talking takes an immense amount of physical effort. The language centers of your brain are heavily suppressed. Your biological energy budget is incredibly low. To keep your core physiological functions running, your biology dims the lights on complex problem solving and emotional regulation. It dedicates its remaining energy to breathing, heart rate regulation, and cellular repair. Fighting this fog only drains your reserves much faster. As your metabolic reserves slowly replenish, you will enter the most confusing phase of the freeze hangover. This is the painful thaw. Many people assume that as they recover from a freeze, they will slowly start to feel calm and energized. Physiologically, the exact opposite is true. To get from the bottom rung of dorsal vagal shutdown back to the top rung of safety, you must climb through the middle rung. That middle rung is your sympathetic nervous system, the zone of fight or flight. As your body senses that the threat is gone, it begins to release the massive emergency brake. The trapped survival energy comes rushing back to the surface. The numbness wears off. You will likely experience intense anxiety. Your heart may race. Your chest may tighten. You might find yourself sobbing uncontrollably or feeling flashes of intense anger. Because the freeze state blunted your emotions, the thaw brings a tidal wave of delayed feelings. Your body might even start to physically tremble. This stage is where many people get trapped in chronic freeze cycles. The thaw feels so uncomfortable that your brain panics. It interprets this rush of anxiety and shaking as a sign that things are getting worse. It pulls the emergency brake again, dropping you right back into the numb freeze. Here is the vital reframe. When the anxiety hits and the tears come, that is not a sign of a relapse. That is the literal feeling of your nervous system coming back to life. It is the ice finally melting. You have to let the body shake it out. In the wild, animals that survive a life-threatening freeze will instinctively tremble violently to discharge excess adrenaline and reset their physical state. Do not suppress the primal movements your body wants to make. If your chest feels tight, notice it. Then find a part of your body that feels neutral, like your left foot. Focus entirely on the neutral foot for 30 seconds. Then gently swing your attention back to your tight chest. This process is called pendulation. It acts like a gentle massage for your nervous system, proving that while a part of you feels overwhelmed, the entirety of you is not destroyed. Once you can tolerate the thaw, you must titrate your movement. Take it in tiny, digestible doses. Do not try to jump up and clean the entire house. That is too much sympathetic arousal too fast. Start with just your eyes. Look around the room slowly. Let your eyes land on an object and name its color. Orienting to the environment is a primary biological sign of safety. Next, move to your extremities. Wiggle your toes. Gently flex your ankles. Open and close your hands into fists. Do not force the core of your body to move until your extremities are fully engaged. By pacing your return to motion, you bypass the inner alarm system that wants to shut you down again. You gently coax your biology back into the safe, social, and functional state known as ventral vagal regulation. It is crucial to look at this exhaustion not just as an individual failing, but as a biological response to modern life. Our evolutionary biology was designed for acute stress. A predator jumps out, we run, we survive, we rest. The stress cycle is short and complete. But modern stress is chronic and inescapable. You cannot punch a looming deadline. You cannot outrun inflation or constant digital demands. Because we cannot fight or flee these omnipresent abstract threats, our nervous system frequently defaults to the freeze response to cope with the sheer volume of overwhelming data. We must completely redefine our definition of rest. For many, rest means scrolling on a phone. But if you are in a freeze state, scrolling is not restorative. It is simply a distraction from the discomfort of the shutdown. It provides just enough dopamine to keep you stimulated, but requires zero executive function. True restorative rest requires turning inward. It requires giving your depleted system the exact biological conditions it needs to repair the massive toll of surviving a prolonged crisis. Treat your freeze hangover like you would treat a severe case of the flu. You would not call yourself lazy for being unable to run a marathon while battling a high fever. The metabolic exhaustion of surviving a prolonged stressor is just as real and requires just as much convalescence as a physical illness. Honor your body for keeping you alive. It evaluated a threat, determined you could not fight or flee, and shut you down to ensure your survival. It absorbed the impact for you. Here is your field test for the next time you find yourself paralyzed after a stressful event. Do not try to force yourself to complete a task. Instead, pick one small, low-demand physical sensation. Hold a warm cup of water, wrap a heavy blanket around your shoulders, or simply hum a single low note to stimulate your vagus nerve. Focus entirely on that one physical sensation for 60 seconds. Stop fighting the pause, give your biology exactly what it needs, and let the thaw happen.